Hello and welcome to MFR Pilates Online. My name is Miriam, or Mim as most people know me. I am going to provide some short videos and pictures in the coming weeks to help those that would like to continue or possibly start their Pilates practice at home during this current situation. I am also in the process of getting virtual classes up and running for those that would like to join for short sessions if they can. In this video, I am going to talk through and refresh the principle of alignment and most specifically neutral. I'm going to talk this through in standing, sitting and lying. So you will just need a chair and a mat if you have one, or just possibly a towel. And you might want to have a small rolled up towel or cushion just to place underneath the back of your head when you come to lie down on the floor. So let's start with standing. So we want to bring the feet about hip width apart and in parallel. So a nice trick, if you're not too sure, is to just bring your feet together first of all. Turn your heels out to the back corners of the room and then bring your toes into line. So we want the feet about hip width apart and in parallel. So make sure that you haven't turned the feet out or in. And we just want to keep the knees soft. Don't lock the legs, and feel that you are lengthening up through the spine, growing nice and tall, feeling balanced over your feet, relaxing the arms, drawing the shoulders down the back so you're nice and open across the chest. And we want to think about bringing the pelvis into a neutral position. So we're going to use some pelvic tilts to help with this. And it might help to have your hands just placed around your hips. And you could also imagine your pelvis a bit like a bucket of water. And we're going to think about tipping the bucket of water forward and back. So the water's going to come over the front and come over the back. And sometimes that imagery can just help if you've not done this before and how it should feel. So you don't want the knees locked, keep the knees nice and soft. Place the hands around the hips. Imagine your bucket of water, and we're just going to tip water over the front. So we're going to tilt the pelvis slightly forward, and then we're going to now tilt back. So water comes over the back of that bucket of water. And we're just going to continue with some nice, small pelvic tilts. It's not a swaying, so try and keep equal weight through your feet and keep the knees soft. Try not to lock your legs. And it's a small movement. It shouldn't be forced, shouldn't be exaggerated. Imagine that bucket of water tipping forward and tipping back. And we're just going to gradually make that movement a little bit smaller each time until you feel that you start to settle and come to a stop. And maybe imagine that bucket of water now nice and level. So you want to feel that you're balanced over your feet, and now your pelvis is in neutral. So you're not tilting forward, you're not tilting back. You're finding that nice centered position, and we have our pelvis, rib cage and head nicely balanced, stacked on top of one another. And just take a moment for some deep breaths in this position, breathing in through the nose, out through the mouth. It shouldn't feel a forced position or that you're holding on to anything. The more you practice it, the easier it becomes and more natural it will feel. So that's our standing alignment. Let's now look at sitting. So I'll just bring the chair in. So if I actually pop the chair this way round, then you can see what's happening with my positioning. So try and use a sturdy chair if you can. Sofas aren't as good because they tend to be lower and tend to adjust the alignment of your hips and your knees. So just make sure that you're not sat back into the chair. I know that's probably tempting, but try not to. So bring yourself away from the back of the chair, and also make sure that the back of your knees is away from the edge of the chair. So you have a space here And that's partly so that you can move a little bit easier, but also it just helps the circulation down to the lower half of the legs. Again, like you did in standing, feet about hip width apart and in parallel again. Spread the toes, again feel equal weight through your feet, but also now feel equal weight through your sitting bones, so don't feel that you're more into one side than the other. Try and feel that you're balanced over your pelvis. And again, those three main body weights, your pelvis, your rib cage and your head, balanced and stacked on top of one another. Again, you could imagine that thread coming out the top of your head, lengthening you up towards the ceiling. So you don't want to feel that you're slumping back into the chair. Feel that you are lifting, growing a little bit taller. Relax the arms. Again, draw the shoulders down the back and nice and open again across the chest. And again, take some nice deep breaths. Breathing in through the nose, out through the mouth. Fantastic, so that's our sitting alignment. Now we'll bring ourselves down onto the floor for neutral in lying. So just slowly bring yourself down onto your mat or onto your towel if you've got one. And first of all, just tuck the feet in towards you, so you're bending the knees. Feet tucked in towards you, not too far away, but also not too close, where it feels comfortable. And again, we want the feet and the knees about hip width apart and in parallel. So you could use the same trick again of bringing your feet together to start with, turn the heels out and then bring the toes into line. It's quite tempting in this position to feel that the weight just sinks into your heels. Try and feel that you are also spreading the toes and equal weight through both feet. Avoid the knees falling in towards each other or falling out. So you want to keep them parallel and hip width apart. Again, think about those three main body weights. So again, your pelvis, your rib cage and your head, and just let them settle down into the mat. Relax the arms down by your side for a moment and just let yourself settle. And we're going to think about bringing the pelvis into a neutral position. We're going to use what's known as a pelvic diamond. So you need to make a diamond shape with your thumbs and your fingers. And we're going to rest the heel of your hands on your hip bones, thumbs underneath your belly button and fingertips resting on your pubic bone. So we've got this nice diamond shape resting on top of the pelvis. And if it helps, again with imagery, you can imagine a marble resting in between your thumbs and your fingers, and it's quite a nice way of finding the position and the feeling. So we're going to think about tilting the pelvis towards us first of all. So imagine rolling the marble towards your thumbs. You should feel that you just gently tilt and the lower back should just gently imprint the floor. And then we're going to tilt the pelvis away from us. So think about rolling the marble down towards your fingers. So now we've increased the curve in the lumbar spine. So if you can, just breathe in and out as you tilt. Breathing in and out as you tilt. So again, we're just getting this nice gentle movement through the pelvis, very similar to what you did in standing. And it feels quite nice on the floor because you get a little bit of feedback on the floor. Rolling the marble towards your thumbs, towards your fingers. And again, this shouldn't be forced, shouldn't be exaggerated, so you shouldn't be lifting off the floor. And again, we're just going to gradually slow that down, make it a little bit smaller until we settle in between those 2 points. Imagine that marble resting nicely in between thumbs and fingers. And you can, if you want to, also look down and see that your thumbs and fingers are in line, pointing straight ahead like an arrow, hands are parallel to the floor. So this should have brought you into neutral. You should find that you've just got a little bit of weight tucked on your tailbone, and just this natural curve in your lower back. You shouldn't be flat into the floor. And you can just rest the hands now. Try and take some nice deep breaths, drawing down through the back of the rib cage, settling the back of the head. Try and release the shoulders and the back of your neck, feeling length out through the top of the head. And just take some deep breaths in through the nose, out through the mouth. And there we have it. Alignment in standing, sitting and in lying. So I hope that that has helped give you a little bit of an understanding to now move forward, or just given you a bit of a recap if you needed it. Thank you very much. See you again soon.